As we continue with the show this morning, and it's time now to look at Africa Month, the month of May being Africa Month. And this morning we're talking with Gideon Chitanga, Associate Researcher at the African Center for the United States Wits University, to unpack and to provide us more information. Now, the theme for Africa Day this year or will be talking about good opportunity for continued advocacy to ensure gains made over the years in eliminating nutrition and all its forms are not reversed. And this is extremely relevant in terms of celebrating Africa Month on the continent. And we say good morning to you, Gideon Chitanga. We thank you for your time with us this morning. Okay, it appears as if we are having a slight problem in connecting with Gideon Chitanga. But looking at the month of May, and we know that even in South Africa, this month of May is recognized, and it comes at the time when the country actually or the continent commemorates the founding of the OAU and also establishing the Organization of African Unity in 1963. Now, looking at the African continent, this is a continent that is so rich in resources, but also often referred to as a dark continent, and also the problems that the continent experiences, particularly looking at the poverty, looking at many other issues, but yet the entire world has its focus on Africa. We know about the scramble of Africa by the rest of the world. And let's just try and unpack some of these issues as to why celebrating Africa Month is so relevant. Gideon Chitanga, good morning to you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Yes, let's just talk about the relevance of Africa Month and the month of May. And, we're talking about this being a celebration of the continent. But I think more importantly, we are talking about a continent and that has huge challenges, yet it is. The wealthiest continent in the world, I would say, Gideon.
Mhm. I I think that celebrating the Africa, for Africans, for ourselves, is very important, even without thinking about what we have, but just starting by thinking about who we are as people, as diverse as we are. We are culturally rich. We are human beings. We are given an agency, a transformative agency that has a contribution to humanity at large in terms of not only enriching humanity in materialistic senses, but also culturally, intellectually, enriching humanity in the sense of contributing to the human soul globally, in creating conditions that make humanity thrive, succeed, e- e- vibrant, and dynamic. So I'm giving this philosophical stance as a foundation of who we are because this also informs how we relate with human progress and how we confront contemporary challenges. Mm,
Yes,
You present, I think, a parallel dichotomy of wealth, but also a paradox of poverty. Mm, Human civilization, if you think of it in terms of transformation to modernity, it has always been characterized by this paradox. How do we progress in the sense of beating our challenges, beating the problems that we face today to create better conditions for the human race as we progress? So I think that to consider that paradox, Africa has evolved a lot from the pre-colonial era where it had a totally different uh, dispensation and the forms of civilization which were different, but human life was dynamic and flourishing, and the levels of happiness were measured in different ways than we can measure now. You think about the increasing interest of the global community, the rest of the world in Africa, which played its heightened point during colonialism and eventually he translated into colonial resistance. Even before colonialism, we need to think about the slavery and the slave trade and how that spurred global mercantilism and how that then gave birth to direct political control through colonialism, the struggles against colonialism. These are historical layers that adds to the richness and dynamism and the strength of the Africans. And I'm talking here about Africans in a very broad sense, in their diversity. Every human color that has come to inhabit the continent and to respect it as home and to treat the human species that inhabit this part of the world that we call Africa as home, to see each other as brothers and sisters, to cooperate and collaborate in defeating the struggles that you have referred to in creating better human conditions. So these are the people that I refer to as Africans. So we celebrate the African man by looking back to our struggles, the evolving civilizations in the continent, and how as Africans we are positively impacting and transforming and embracing our challenges, our differences, and building a common humanity for all. I think this is very important to celebrate, including the economic transformations, the political transformations, the social transformations, the cultural transformation, and more importantly, navigating those key caveats that brings us together to embrace and to respect this common African humanity.
Yes, and also Gideon, I think what is very important to understand, and we've seen the slogan, and I'm looking at the picture on the screen, talking about building a better Africa and a better world. And on the African continent, there isn't a single country that has not suffered the effects of colonialism. And we know the devastation is still being felt right now. And I spoke about the scramble for Africa. So the eyes of the world has still focused on Africa. And this is the reason why we need to be more united than ever. And also looking at the theme for 2022, looking at the year of nutrition, we're talking about strengthening resilience in nutrition, food security on the African continent, strengthening our agro system. We know the mineral resources that the continent is well known for, the richness of mineral resources. And all of this, at the end of the day, as Africans, we need to realize that we are in a very, very good space. On the continent, we have got a continent that has got so much potential that can deliver. So one needs to be aware, and that is the reason why when you're saying, we need to be together in our thinking as brothers, as sisters, because at the end of the day, we've all suffered, and we all have the potential to gain on this continent as well.
Yes, in fact, I go back to the point that if you look to the rest of the other civilizations, I mean, I cannot fail to mention how in the last 50 years China has transformed its population, raising up more than 800 million people out of poverty. And I think that there's something that comes with uniting and working together and converting that energy, that urgency, confidently in addressing our domestic, and I'm saying domestic here meaning domestic in a continental sense, domestic problems is Africans. Eh, One of the major underutilized gifts to the continent it's human resources. We have a lot of young people who have the energy, are very much educated, but this social capital is wasted because at the end, the energy is not converted into, is not channeled into socio-economic activities that are relevant to the problems that we are dealing with or that we are facing as a continent. Sorry. The second thing is we need to constantly look inside the Africans themselves and look inside what we have as a beginning point, as a foundation for the development of the continent. And I think this is what you refer to when you say Africa is rich, has a lot of resources. The key question is how are we utilizing these resources? Who is benefiting from these resources? And are we cooperating at policy level to make sure that the resources and the profits from the resources are used to innovate in agriculture, build the relevant infrastructure that promotes business, roads, railways, the airlines, the sea transport. Are we investing in technological innovation in a massive, massive, massive way? And are we preserving resources so that when we have emergencies like COVID, we can actually withdraw from our own resources within the earth, within the continent, to stimulate our economies, to mitigate economic and social shocks so that people cannot suffer from unemployment, which aggravates poverty, which aggravates social ills, which eventually feeds into political instability, and so on and so on. So they, they, there are a lot of layers that needs to be debated, that require police attention from the national or the lowest level to the national and to the regional levels and to the continental levels. We cannot tie them together, but I think this month should be dedicated to highlighting and profiling each of the areas of concern, of interest, where Africans should be directing their attention to build a more resilient continent, to deal with the issues of hunger once and for all. How do we make sure that our own agricultural processes, which feed the majority of the people in rural areas, are strengthened so that food security is maintained? So these are some of the, I'm just picking some of the major concerns which can be addressed by policy in the way of policy intervention.
Well, Gideon, thank you very much for that. I know we can spend hours talking about the African continent. In fact, we can have a full show with a full panel discussion just looking at the African continent itself and also some of the issues that you have unpacked. We can do that in a lot more detail. But unfortunately, time has been of the essence. We thank you. We appreciate you taking time out talking to us this morning, celebrating Africa Month. All the best to you. Gideon Chitanga joining us, researcher, associate researcher at the African Center for the United States at Wits University. The time is just gone 8:52. We come back. We'll be joined by Dr. Firoz Osman. We're talking about the brutal murder of Shireen Abu Akleh that took place yesterday morning. And the question we are asking here in South Africa and also right across the entire world, the mainstream media, the media powerhouses, why are they so selective? Why are they silent on this brutal murder that has taken place? And clearly tragic, an icon in the world of journalism. And we'll be joined by Dr. Firoz Osman when we come back.